Good morning.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, I think. It's a gloomy day here, but
Oh,
well, it's rainy and just bleh outside.
oh,
Sadly, not in the game. Well, that's kind of gloomy too, but that's another story. You doing all right this week?
doing well. It's nice and cool here, but sunny and dry, but doing well, other than my allergies.
Oh, that's good. We are back with session 4, and I looked back on our previous save files, and sure enough, the first campaign game went 4 sessions. And you know how we love everything in parity. I suspect, I just got a feeling that session 4 of the rematch, based on user feedback, might be, could be, possibly the last one. But we'll see. Things are looking a mite tough for the CSA, to be sure. We left off last session with Roger's boats. His pontoon boats are just almost ready to go. We're getting word down the telegraph line that they're a coming, or he is anyway. And here's the battlefield situation as it is. What are your opening thoughts on this one before we go into corrections?
Obviously, yeah, people are saying I'm in great shape, which I think because of the manpower losses, I am. Still don't have a lot of victory points other than manpower losses, but you've suffered a lot of hits, both combat and extended march, and it'll be. I mean, we might call it this session, but certainly some people have made some comments and some about how things are going. But yeah, it's going well for the union. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to be Debbie Downer this morning.
That's my job.
So that's kind of my thoughts. I mean, I feel like I've got lots of different options I can do. Okay, I think there's a gamey thing I could do. I could probably is the thing I think most people would do. We could talk about that as the initiatives roll out, or I can stick to how I play this when I'm playing it by myself, which is the historical. What would the real Burnside do? Not the incompetent one, but let's pretend he actually knew what he was doing.
Well,
Uh,
confident, if not 100% competent. But
yeah,
he was the first poster child for the Peter Principle. He knew his limitations.
yeah, he did.
Conversely, this is probably one of the biggest pickles in the world for me. You've got me very well surrounded, and it will come down to a couple of initial things, but primarily, you already said it, the initiatives. And if I don't get at least maybe the first 3 initiatives in a row, at least the first 1 or 2. If I can get 3, that's kind of gravy for me. But knowing you as I do and knowing the situation and how precarious it is right now, there is very little I can do if I don't get a little bit of help from the die roller at this point. And that goes for, I mean, we've had 3 delays on the looking at our time track here. We've had 3 delays, but only 2 of them really did anything because the last one at the end of last session for this one, the random event on this one was they were delayed again, but it was a -2, and guess what? I rolled a 2, so there was no delay. It was a yeah, there was a smudge on the paperwork, whatever. They're still coming. So next turn, theoretically, if all things go as Roger would expect, and he goes on a tear and were to grab, or if it looked like he has an unobstructed pathway to grabbing some victory point locations. There are plenty of them out there. Obviously, Fortress Fredericksburg is still kind of off the table for him, but you are pushing down the Orange and Alexandria. If you were to go and get a whole bunch of others, just peel off a couple of units and go grab those, then that would stand to reason that there's really nothing I can do about it. So the goal for this game, for this session for me, is try to keep holding on. And the only way I can do that is to do the escape from Hoth, as it were. I don't have fog and rain and wintry conditions, but the Empire is already landed and the AT-ATs are encroaching on Echo Base. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's not a lot. I mean, I'm really looking forward to moving on to Thunder on the Mississippi at this point, but I do want to see how this goes because you've just played it so meticulously, and it really is a testament for those of you watching who are newer players, especially in this campaign game. Watch what Roger has done as the Union. it's going very well, especially on the maneuver part.
We do have corrections, and one of the corrections you mentioned that we both missed was that Bayard went out of supply.
That's right. Bayard and Tolliver.
Uh,
I marked both of them.
and I don't know, was there anything else?
I had just of course, because as always, the retreat for sub four, I had taken him down, and he curved a little early. He actually had to come out to this point, and then he could he get to 1103, and then he could do his two free, and that brings him onto the Orange and Alexandria Railroad. And I think there was yes, people pointed out that in the combat with Whipple, that I neglected because the heart wanted what the heart wanted. I gave myself a full flank, and it was actually a +3 because it was a rain turn. 1870 came off, so that actually turned yours from Whipple being routed to Whipple being retreated. But you had moved him out to a point of safety, and you actually sat him for the whole next turn, and he completely reorganized. So the -3 manpower would still be inflicted because of the retreat path, but all things being equal, you didn't move him in the second turn of the session, so he still recovered completely. That was really the only big one, but it didn't have a consequence, I don't think, unless you were planning on using Whipple.
No, you would have rested and recovered. That was the whole point of that.
So those were the corrections, and as always, thank you everyone who watches these with such a good magnifying glass and points those out to us, because we really appreciate it. Because I catch some of them in editing. I'm like, oh, that was yeah, and usually it's something simple. I say simple in air quotes, like a flank calculation or a retreat path. Because in the heat of the moment, the heat of battle, Roger and I are just like we're just trying to get through it, and when we're both suffering from the dice, it gets a little strenuous when you're mentally trying to calculate. No, I need to go this way, not that way. So, but you all understand because you've played this game. So, supply. Do you want to
Yeah.
do anything?
Yeah, I've got these two units, and we'll try Bayard first. I get 2 attempts because I got my depot still up at Warrenton. Bayard is exhausted, so this will be +1 to his roll. He is less than or equal to 5 hexes. That's 6 hexes. I'm sorry. So that's +2. So he's going to get +3 for him to attempt to get into supply. And it's a 5.
Can you guess it?
And it needs to be less than 6, right?
Yep. Their carbine ammo was on the wagons, surprisingly.
And artillery reserve left. He just gets a +1 to his roll. And he's back in ammunition.
And I only have the one. I just have Tolliver, and he has no impediments at all that I can see. The Rapidan is not calculated for me. It's just a straight up roll, right? So he's trying to 5 or less. Here we go. He does.
Okay. Everybody's in supply now, I believe.
Yes, they are.
Or in ammunition.
In ammunition, right. Well, then we move on to leader transfers.
Yeah, this is going to be. Well, we'll start with Bernie. We're going to move him to the central location here. Hooker might as well come down. Put him on Humphrey. Question is Hunt. Hunt's offense or defensive? I'll leave Hunt where he is, Sumner where he is, Couch where he is, Butterfield. That's it for me, I think, for movement for leader transfers.
I think I'm going to just move Longstreet down to Pickett. Lee and Jackson are going to come over to D.H. Hill, and those are mine. Next, we have the attachment phase. I think for the first time all game, I've got an attachment. Do you have any?
I do not have any, no.
Okay. Well, I'm going to roll sub 1 up into early and give him 17 and 5 artillery. Next, we have the action cycle. Pum pum pum. Why don't you be a deer and roll those dice and be good to me, Roger? And as always, good luck.
I saw somebody said you should quit doing that for me, but good luck to you too as well. Here we go. And that's Confederate.
There's a chance. There's a chance. This was what I agonized on. What do you prioritize over the other? I moved Longstreet obviously to get everybody in movement. Will I get the next initiative? That, sir, is quite doubtful. Yep, let's go with the logic of the needs of the many outweigh the few. All right, so we're gonna have Longstreet activate Anderson, sub 2, Pickett, sub 4, and Hood. All get a fatigue. Hood and sub 4 will have extended marches. Here is their movement plus 2. 7. Okay. Longstreet will transfer to Anderson. Sub 4 is going to go first. Here is his extended march. He's okay. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to there. Pickett does not need one. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to there. Sub 2, 1, 2, hey, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to there. Yeah, let's do Hood next. 1, 4, 5.
Oh, there's no road there between
No,
Gaines Mill and
no,
Bones
it's
Mill.
a bridge over, yeah.
Oh,
6 and 7. Longstreet and Anderson are going to go 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 to there. And I think that's everybody. Hood needs an extend march. Here's a Hood extend march. Oh, it loses manpower. Okay. All right, that is everybody. Here's the next initiative. Oh, it's yours.
take Howard to fatigue 1. Activated by Couch. Here's his movement. It's 4. He's just going to go 1, 2, 3 to there. Initiative. That's yours. No, that's mine. Okay. Yeah, we'll attempt this with Hancock and French under Couch. We'll attempt an assault on AP Hill. Here's the attempt. It does come off with both. Yeah, it's not worth it, I don't think, to try to punch up the ratio. So I'm not going to attempt a grand assault here. Well, let me do the numbers to see. I see a type is a +1. There's no tactical. I get hunt bonus for a +1. I have ratio covered at 22 to 17. I have 6 pieces of artillery. You're 4. Your breastworks 1, but that's not enough. So that's +2, which gets me out of the artillery into clear. And I do have all 6 hexes covered. Flank of a +4. So I'm just going to go with what I have. So what I see is a type of +1, hunt of +1, a flank of +4 for a final of a +6.
That is what I see.
Okay. So here's my attack roll. Should have gone with the additional.
Here's my
Oh well.
defense roll. Okay, so it
Oh,
is +4. Well, you get a
+4 result.
yeah, +4 on 17. So 2 DR for me, big R.
And a 1 FA for me at 20.
Yeah, little F. Okay.
22 and a
All right,
little
so
F.
let's take the 2 off. 1, 2. Let's put it on the chart.
So yeah, I think that was a good decision not to
And he is disorganized, demoralized.
take that off of French.
And I do have a good retreat path here. So
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hex is yours.
Okay, you had how many manpower losses?
2 losses. Yeah, so let me, right, 32 to 12, correct.
Yeah, we will not take the hex. We'll stay put. Initiative. That's yours.
Okay. I will have Longstreet activate Ransom and Anderson. Anderson will go to 2. Here's movement plus 2, 6. Longstreet will transfer to Ransom. And Anderson will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Longstreet Ransom loses. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative. Mine again. Ransom will go to 2. Here's movement. 5. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Initiative. Mine again. Jackson will activate DH Hill and Tolliver. Here's their movement plus 2. 6. Jackson and DH Hill will go 1, 2 to there. Tolliver will go 1, 2, 3 to there. Initiative. Mine again. Jackson will activate AP Hill to 4. Here's movement plus 2. Here's extended march plus 1. He's okay. He's going to go off road right there. Initiative, yours.
Butterfield activate Humphreys, Griffin, and Sykes. Their movement. Make up 4 movement points. Humphreys will go 1, 2, 3 to there. Butterfield will go with Griffin. 1, 2 to there. Sykes will go 1, 2 to there. Initiative. Those are yours, right? Doubles,
Yep.
sixes.
Yep.
Yep.
We'll have early march. Here's movement. It's 3. He's going to put up a flanks refused. Initiative, yours.
Wilcox will activate Sturgis, Getty, and Burns. Here's their movement. It's 3. Burnside's Wilcox can transfer to Burns. And for now, I'm just going to slide them off to the side here. Sturgis is going to go first. He's going to go 1, 2, 3 to there. Burns is going to go next. There with him. 1, 2, 3 to there. Getty's going to go 1, 2 to there. No, 3 to there. Initiative, line. We have Butterfield activate Sykes. His movement. 4. Butterfield's going to transfer to Sykes. He's just going to go there. Initiative, yours.
I want to take that bait so bad, but so bad, but it's just, it's like go big or go home kind of thing. And I just don't know that it'd be worth it when I've got bigger fish to fry. Yeah, we'll activate DH Hill to 2 with Jackson. Here's movement. Whew, great. Yeah, we'll go 1, 2, 3 to there. Initiative. Mine. Let's have Longstreet get this big mess out of the way here. He's going to activate Hood, Ransom, Anderson, sub 2 to march. And Hood will have a extended, well, they'll all have extended marches. Here's movement plus 2. Very good. Okay. Sub 2 will go first. It does not have an extended march. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go there. Hood's extend march plus 1. He's going to lose manpower. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 to there. Anderson's extended march. He's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ransom's extended march is okay. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there. Initiative, mine. Alright, we'll have early and DH Hill march. Here is movement. It's 5. They will transfer to early. DH Hill's extend. He's okay. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. And early's just going to go there. Okay. Initiative, mine. Have early go to 2, or 3, excuse me. Here's his movement. Stands to figure. Here's extended march. He's okay. And they're gonna go just to there. Initiative, yours.
Will Smith activate Brooks? Oh, nice. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative, mine. Will Butterfield activate Griffin and Humphreys? Here's their movement. 5 movement points. Butterfield will transfer to Griffin. Humphreys will go first. Well, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Butterfield will go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Initiative, mine. Yeah, Butterfield will attempt an assault on Jackson with just Griffin. Here's the attempt. Does come off. So the type's going to be a +1. I have all 6 hexes covered. Flank is going to be a +4. Now we're going to start taking some things off. Tactical is a -1. And you have 5 pieces of artillery to my 4, which is a -1, and rolling, which I believe is going to be a -1. Yep, -1. Artie's a -1. So I see 5 up and 2 down for a final level +3.
+3.
Okay. There we go.
Come on, big six. Big six. No.
So that's
+5.
+5.
Somebody, I believe it was Holger, he was lamenting my use of Jackson. And I said, don't worry, Jackson's a big boy. He'll be okay. And he said, I don't think so. And he was right, as it turned out. So that's 3DR. Man, I,
Is it 3?
yeah, I'm 17, right?
You're
+5.
17?
Yep, 3DR.
Yeah, +5. Okay. And what's it on me? Anything?
One,
Just
two,
an end action for
three.
me. No.
Demoralized.
Okay.
Okay, so let's give you 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And we will do our, let's see, attack from Butterfield, so it's got to go here. 1 away, 2 away, 3 away, 4 away, 5, and don't believe that's any closer. 6. Well, Roger, I think it might be time to just hand you the towel because while I am enjoying it nonetheless, you just got too much gas in the tank, and I don't at this point. And I mean that just on a personal morale check, but just looking at how many fresh units in the Juggernaut just bearing down on me. I mean, you got Reynolds in the first corps completely fresh. The fifth corps is just doing work, unbelievable work. Sixth corps is ready to completely pounce, and these guys are just scattered out there without any good support. So I think knowing what you've been doing the last 3 or 4 turns, they're just fodder for more manpower losses. So I think with 1 turn removed from potentially getting your bridges and no way for me to prevent you from just going east and doing everything, I think this is probably a good point to just call this one as a very impressive Union victory. What are your thoughts? Would you say it's worth continue to prosecute? I mean, I love it. Just everything is going just wrong for me, and you're managing to take care of every little bit of it. And I think I don't know, it's just so overwhelming. And you said at the beginning of this, I think that the Union has never won in any of the basic or campaign
According to my
scenarios.
spreadsheet, yeah, the
I,
Union has never won so far this
I think you
entire.
have been the exception to that now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. The game thing now for me to do, I've got Culpeper, so I'll occupy Culpeper, which is only 5 points, but I can now afford to take the first corps and the cavalry and just go east, continue putting pressure on with everybody else. I don't think you can stop them from taking Fredericksburg. I mean, all of the victory point locations to the east, and then just transfer my base.
Right. I mean, that's just a
And
matter of it's academic over the next 2 or 3 turns, but there's nobody. I had hoped to peel Jackson away and then just kind of either feint or just get them over here somewhere so that they could at least be in a position to threaten the pike over here. But you managed to, you got Howard moving first, that blocked here. Like, okay. And then you got, I think, another, maybe 2. I think you just got at least another one in the road,
I got
and
another one to
and
make my
and you
assault.
right, and you put it here, and you blocked that avenue of retreat, so I couldn't cohesively get Jackson going. I thought with the first 2, what I really agonized was, and you guys heard me do that, was do I remove Ransom first and get him here so that he's in leadership range? Then I can continue. But no, you know 5 divisions are better than just 1 division, and knowing that the precious nature of the next initiative is uncertain, I had to move all the small ones and get them down the road,
Yeah,
which was great. And the other option I had was I'm going to be fun with Ransom and I'm just going to take him tootling up here and have him go on a covert ops mission and threaten. But it didn't matter because you have Rappahannock Station and you've got a bridge, so you've got a supply point should you decide to keep it here. I was pleased with my withdrawal, but you just got just the right amount of initiatives, which is at least one or two, and like moving Franklin with that six. It's like, oh, really?
That was,
That was the
yeah, that was,
gravy. Yeah,
yeah, that was the one that kind of, now it opened up. I did tempt you with Sykes. I was
yeah. Oh,
kind of
yeah.
okay. I
You
don't
were.
care.
Yeah,
I don't care that it's a big role. If I can disorganize that guy, then he's got nowhere to go. I was prepared to sacrifice Sykes as
I gave myself willpower award today because I really. You guys didn't hear it, but I agonized over. It. I was like, I really want this grand assault, but it would never go, and it's just a waste of fatigues at that point. So yeah,
yeah,
good job on the bait.
yeah. I was just trying to tempt you into doing something that was, and I might have lost. I mean, I might have lost big time and cost me a bunch of manpower. But
But you've got it in spades in reserve, so yeah, it
yes,
would not
yeah,
hurt you.
yeah. As you said, I mean, I still got Ninth Corps is still in great shape. Sixth Corps is still in great shape. First Corps hasn't moved at all.
Yeah, and you've always got
Uh,
Stoneman back there in reserve if you need
I've
to.
got Stoneman sitting there, and yeah, yeah. My intention was to to talk about what my plan was. Was I just felt like okay, I think was to just bulldoze my way, keep you tied up in Culpeper, basically the Lincoln Staunton plan, try to inflict manpower losses, use Hunt, who I think is a really powerful piece. Talking in terms of chesses, his +1 for attack and defense is just getting him in the right place and wear you down. And then before Jackson showed up, do as much damage to Longstreet as I could, and then just keep you pinned in Culpeper. And then at some point, like I initially did it with Meade. I was going to do it First Corps, and then there's just I can't remember the exact sequence, but I saw a chance to turn Reynolds back west and do some damage, which he did quite a bit there for a couple turns in the Stevensburg area.
Yeah, that was turn two. Yeah, when you
Um,
just managed to pin me right there. Yep.
and so I felt like I needed to bring Meade back as backup because I was concerned about Jackson, but he was just slow enough. just
Yeah.
that he got there really not in time. That was what there was just. I think this is the Union manpower advantage here. If you can avoid, I mean, other than the rain at the start, that was it. Oh, I guess we had a rain and a fog turn, but I really didn't have rain. Wasn't that big a deal, and the pontoons were not delayed. As you said, now the pontoons are there, and I can start building bridges like crazy.
So now that we've played it both sides, and as we like to do at the end of every campaign game, is we will go back and look at the whole, look at the play of both one and two, comparing and contrasting what elements may have been a factor in one game versus the other. Just look at the scenario design and what we would consider, is it balanced? What are their strategic elements that need to be considered for that? And if that sounds very lofty, please don't think so. It's just, I mean, we have our experience now, and I have some thoughts. These are kind of on the fly. I didn't write anything down, but I think the previous game is still fresh enough in my mind that I think when I look at how my style of play with the Union versus Rogers in this one, I think we have a few things that we can make some notes on. So, whoever would like to start, if you want to go first, you're welcome. If you want me to, I can.
I'll let you go first. Sounds like you have some ideas already. So
No, no, I don't. I was really, I was hoping you were going to take it. Well, I will say that I do appreciate meticulous and high quality play. In this situation here, watching Roger take after 4 years of him and I playing together and all of the various scenarios that we've done, some of them are very what we would call scripted to the campaign games where anything can happen and often does. This was probably the finest play I've ever seen you do as far as offensive and aggressive play. And I mean, you said some of that may have been due to your playstyle with some of the other folks you're playing with, like Mark Greenwood and whatnot, some of the elements of that. But in this particular scenario, when I tried to do it, I fanned out and tried to go with soft flanks and spread that Rappahannock line as the Union and try to exploit little holes here and there and do some probing. And as you said earlier, you just went with the bulldozer on this one. And I think the elements in favor of the Union for Burnside Takes Command is significant manpower, but that comes at a cost typically of movement. Well, because you have the advantage of manpower and opportunity, I think with a little bit of extra luck, a skilled player such as yourself can exploit those offensive capabilities of that. And you certainly did here in the first couple of turns. You overcame the rain because you were even getting great movement in the rain. And in that second session, you had breached the Rappahannock line, and I was unable to mount any kind of defensive stand because you brought each of the corps in this concerted movement. You would set up a flank, you would exploit a flank. I mean, I think this is probably the campaign where I've seen the most flanks at a full +4, where you were just hammering it, and that comes from strings of initiative, obviously, but you were setting things up in such a way that they were supporting each other. And I had broken so many of them in small subs of 5 and things like that, that every single one of them were just completely routed away. So for all the folks out there that said, "Oh, this one you actually, have to stay together and work as a true juggernaut for the Union," I'm starting to agree with that. I mean, Roger, you had great movement rolls and great combat. I mean, there was some combat where you were setting it up at like +8, +9, and then you'd roll a 6. I'm like, good gosh. So all of those things, I think, if a skilled Union player comes in and tries to do exactly what you did, I think they're going to be very successful in the future. That is not a knock on the design of the game. I think that Lincoln Stanton plan coming down Culpeper, that's very straightforward. And if the Rappahannock line cannot be defended, then as we saw, I'm in a hurting place. And I think I did underuse, or at least I expected Jackson to do more than he was able to do. Was that because I brought him across and had him disorganized and everything? That's an argument that some could make. You had brought him in at Piola Hills and just had him immediately come into the Union flank, and that was effective on mine because it's like, oh, there's Jackson, look out. So I think the style of play that you adopted this one, the true bulldozer, was far more effective for the Union in this one. But if you don't get a good movement roll, if you roll ones every time, then the Union are still not going to be as effective, and that seems to happen more than it does not. So I want to congratulate you. This was just, I call it flawless. I love seeing what some would call flawless play. I didn't see any errors in your tactical setups or anything like that. So kudos to you, sir. What are your thoughts on this one as compared to the previous?
I actually liked what you did. I think, I was definitely concerned that I had held the line a little on the Rappahannock too long, but the dice can bail you out, and I think they did. If I remember right, I got some really, as I was trying to pull away, I got some really good movement rolls, which let me get my guys consolidated south of the Rapidan, which then let me turn and again good movement and kind of get some guys trapped in the wilderness last turn. So that's what. And I was again kind of playing that one, thinking I'm going to lose this on victory points. I can't play the Confederates. I didn't feel like could play hoping to stave off defeat. They had to go for the manpower losses and try to win early by getting a bunch of manpower losses, because over time I felt like you were just and it would save me. And that game was, some people have commented before, I think before you got started on this, that the random events table was just too negative on the Union, and I think that really hurt you last game was the delay of the bridges. If you'd gotten the bridges were pushed. I think when I looked it up, a week past the historical date.
Officially, it was 10 days. 10
Was it
total.
10 days?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 days past the historical date. And that just, you weren't able to take advantage of the fact that you had the victory point locations. Yeah, my strategy here for the Union was keep my guys together, try to take advantage of the wing organization with the exception of whatever the red team is.
Well, Couch was such a dynamo right there
The left,
himself. Yeah.
the left, they're so separated you can't use them together, so I just had to keep them. And yeah, the first corps tactical ratings, all threes.
They've
Uh,
been in it, they've seen some stuff apparently.
and the second core. So they're the two core you have some flexibility for, and you've got to be careful with the ninth core because they're all a bunch of twos, and the sixth and the fifth core. So that was, and I always kept an eye on where you had Jackson and Longstreet initially because that's so crucial. I think overall, I think the one thing about the title of all the scenarios has been huge swings. One side is winning big, and then suddenly it swings back the other way, and then back the other way. It's just you're fighting over huge victory points. It seems like I don't think you're going to have many that if people, which I hope they do revisit and republish. And I think actually everything is online now, so I think people can find all the information they need to play as in Vassal. I think that's what most people are going to experience. I don't think many people are going to have it's going to come down to 1 or 2 points. I think you're fighting over 20 point swings, I think.
To your point about the random events, I'm opening them up here again. Yeah, I think you know, by design, they are a little more punitive on the whole to the Union, just because there are some that they have a block of numbers, and then within that, like the pontoons laid, then you're rolling a die. Now that die roll gets modified down more and more as you go on, so it gets less stringent. But early on, if the first one that you roll is a 6, and I think it was for you when you rolled it against me, was, or at least a 4 or something like that. It was bad, and that pushes them back a week initially. So the Union is then forced to react and craft their strategy around that. And that, I think, was probably my shortcoming in the understanding of it right out of the gate. Was I did not realize that those were as critically important in the first game as I do now for you. I thought that Rappahannock and Rappahannock I guess can, but Scottsdale Ford I thought that's a permanent bridge. It cannot. So that's vitally
Oh yeah,
important to know that difference. That 40 hex line has to go primarily over pontoons. So there's myriad fords up and down the Rappahannock. But if you don't have a pontoon on them and they get delayed, as we saw in this game, it was delayed a total of, for you, it was only delayed, I think, 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 5 days. Because they
yeah,
started at turn 5.
5 days.
And for me, it was 10. So, hey, that's fine. It still, it didn't feel like it swung, as you said, until I got bottled up in the wilderness as the Union, and you had managed to get in there, and we were recreating everything 2 years early in the Battle of the Wilderness,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, the way we saw the way that ended up with that insubordination rule. So I just think that there are lots of opportunities for both sides. But with that, it's a knife's edge how easily they can go off. They can just fall off. It's like, hey, I'm moving. No, you're not. Okay. It's raining now for the next 3 days. Okay. I'm going to attack. No, you're not. There's fog for the next 2 days. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So there's a check for everything. And I think in the situation here, you picked the exact appropriate one in this game to exploit all the little things, like, and you knew that I was sitting there like, please rain, please rain, please rain, or let's have some fog. Yay, we got fog, but I was already decimated at that point. So you're like, that's okay, I'll attack on the march. I don't care. It was a lot of little things. Once you had me on my back foot after session 2, I was really scrambling. I'm amazed that we got past session 3. One turn into this fourth session, I just realized that yeah, it's never gonna get any better. I just because you had so many things that you were taking advantage of, and it's like, oh, I've moved everybody that I can move, and you've barely even moved. So my flight is ill-advised. But yeah, I really like the design of this. I'm sorry that it took me 20 years to actually play it. And I want to give a congratulations to Carl Laskus. I think it is a wonderful design, and I think everyone, if you can get it, now that it is, I believe these rules are out onto the MMP website, take a look at it. Obviously, Alberto does a good job on this module for it, and everyone should just give it a shot. Give it, try some different things, pull some different levers, roll with those punches as the random events come up and just see if it significantly affects. I do have some, I think you and I have some formal notes on little wording here and there, but from a design standpoint, I don't know that it requires a lot of heavy lifting for any big changes if they were going to reprint this. But yeah, so just some wording improvements just to make sure that
Yeah,
everyone's on the same page.
yeah, clarifications on some things where it's like, okay, this says it doesn't apply. Then how about in this scenario situation? Like things like I think we ran like the local guides. How many can you have?
Right.
If you have one, then can you have five? Because I think you had. I think it happened with you
I
twice.
did get two, yep. But then it
Um,
never rained again, or I didn't rain.
that-
He didn't rain after I needed him.
yeah, I think there's little things like that that could be tidied up. I do like the way they did the random events. Having, I guess I like that. I guess they call it Chrome. That has more than just a couple of things that can happen, but kind of different things. Smallpox, shoes, false
Yeah,
rumors,
yeah.
balloons. I kind of like that. And you suffered from mutiny, right? Is that what happened to you?
In the previous
No,
one, I had insubordination. I got the old 66.
insubordination. Yeah, so, yeah, insubordination, which was came at a crucial time because I was able to keep one guy from even doing anything. Right, he couldn't. Yeah, activate or entrench, and that tied him to his death.
It did indeed.
So I can see where someone might say that's a big swing, and I don't like it. But since it benefited me, I left it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, what I find amusing about this is now after two plays, we both liked the other player's version of how they played the Union on this one. I really like that you adopted the very offensive bulldozer juggernaut, and you liked, oh yeah, spread out and tried going for the edges and getting the manpower spaces. And they both have their advantages and disadvantages. We'll leave that to the individual players to try for themselves, and certainly would love to hear your feedback on that. Hopefully, these campaign games will be out there for a while, as long as YouTube's a thing. And if that comment section is open and available for you, then please tell us about your own experiences with this. I have noticed on social media now that I'm not saying directly as a result of us playing this, but I am seeing an uptick in people who are trying it and posting their own experiences on social media. So keep that coming. I would love to hear about what happened in your individual campaign games of this. And I think, yeah, the three basic scenarios for this one, they are the full campaign game in just different little scenes
Yeah,
and chapters. So
little
you
chunks.
can you can get some experience just trying the little elements of it, but go ahead and jump right in. This is a very, very approachable campaign game. There's nothing so odd about it or logistically terrifying for it. All you need to do is pay attention to the random event possibilities, and if you do, then you're gonna have a really good time with this. I just know it.
I'll just point out when I soloed this several years ago, when I discovered that I actually had the counters and I physically laid it out, I did exactly what I did here, but there was rain and rain and rain, and the Union got caught, and Lee just and Longstreet and Jackson just went to town and got the 21. I don't know how many manpower losses, but the Union just got decimated when they crossed those fords. So bad luck. So it could, so that was my concern playing it this time. I was like, not going to get till I have a secure crossing of Rappahannock Station and I got places to go. I can retreat paths. That was in my mind the whole time I played this. I'm just going to play this and it's going to rain. And then it didn't happen. So,
Alongside with that, I think this was the campaign that I felt the most amount of risk management. And what you just said right there was, I would have loved to have exploited, when we were all trapped together on the Rappahannock, I would have loved to have come up there and to approach and do that. But you know how I feel about the combat results chart as it is, and
yep.
I'm much more maneuver heavy than I am direct combat. That's not because I don't want to. It's just that with the Confederates and the size of these units, you have to work very hard to set things up in a lot of ways. And the risk management for this one was, you know what? It's easier to back up or just leave a token force there, try to have you fight through it, and of course you would just completely decimate that unit. So yeah, there are certain games and campaigns when I would love to overwhelm you, but the risk management assessment on that for me is like, uh, that's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
And if it goes
yeah, it
horribly,
is.
then I'm out there twisting in the wind. So, yeah, when you're playing it solo, you don't care. You know what the other
Right.
guy's going to do.
Yeah, yes, that's very true. Yeah, I've definitely about thought myself several times. So anyway, I look forward to our next adventure. It's going to be Thunder on the Mississippi, I believe, is
That's
where we're heading.
right. Yeah, we're gonna stay right chronologically, and we're gonna go right into April of 1863. So this is we're finishing up the December 1862 chapter here, and we're gonna go into early spring and some of the spring maneuvers out in the Western Theater with the brand new title of Thunder on the Mississippi. Roger has some experience with it from his play testing already, so this will be completely cold for me. I'll be
Oh
100% fresh.
no.
So I'm going to be seeing it exactly as many of our viewers may be seeing it and experiencing it. So I think that's great because I love the first time through, and if I fail horribly, then I know, oh yeah, next time I'm going to do it differently. So this should be a very good experience, I think, for all involved, and I'm tremendously excited about it. But every Sunday is a wonderful opportunity to game with you, sir. So everybody else, we will put a pin in this second campaign. Thank you so much for watching all of these sessions. Please take a moment as we ask, and even more so here at the end of this one, if you've enjoyed all of this, give those videos a little thumb because that's important to the YouTube algorithm. And more than anything, we just love engaging with you. We get some wonderful feedback and comments on there, so keep them coming. Give us your final thoughts on this particular playthrough of this campaign. You're not going to spoil anything for our opportunity for the next session because this is it. And we really value all of that interaction with you, whether it's here or on social media, anywhere you put it. And that helps the channel grow. And here we are. We're almost at 5 years, and I really want to see us get over that hump, that little sophomore hump. And I'm showing you our financial supporters. This is not expected at all, but you are so generous. You like what you see, and you throw $1 in the bucket or more. Some of you this week have thrown in a couple of bucks, so thank you so much. And we even got one or two new ones, and your name is up there on the wall of fame. So if you are of mind to, wonderful. And Roger, here we go. We're going to come back, and we're going to reintroduce ourselves as we do at the top of the next box set. And as always, sir, have a great one, man.
Me too. Talk to you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.